So let's learn how to set up some lights and use this visualizer augmented as we play with our live magic sheet over here in the ETC Nomad software. If you notice, we have 10 icons here of lighting fixtures. These are a replica of an ETC Source 4 ellipsoidal, which we will talk about in class. But this Light Lab has given us 10 lights that have been pre-programmed into this file for us to use. In this Light Lab, we're going to be limited to those 10, but we're going to be able to do a lot of really cool stuff and explore the basic use of the lighting fixtures in a Light Lab space. We're going to be able to explore changing a lot of the control variables in those fixtures and create some really awesome little lighting designs. So you have 10 lights to work with, and they're numbered channels 1 through 10. The term channel lets us know, again, it's a term that means the way that we control those lights. And we'll cover more about what lighting channels mean as we talk about lighting control systems. Just know right now we have lights, fixtures 1 through 10 that are connected to channels 1 through 10. So the first thing we need to do is we need to hang those lights in the space, in the venue. Right now they're just sitting on the ground. We're going to be hanging them. I'm going to turn up my lights over here in my venue just a little bit so we can see what's going on. I'm going to turn on my work lights. And we have all these pipes or battens that are hanging positions inside our Light Lab. Notice that this is mirrored over here inside the magic sheet, and we have these green dots that show us the hanging points that this file is going to let us hang those lights as if we're virtually hanging them up in the air inside a theater venue. So I want to try mounting a light. So I'm just going to start with fixture 1 here. If I want to hang it somewhere in the space, I click on it until it's highlighted. And again, that gold texture tells me that it's live and it's ready to go. And I'm going to hang it just front and center right up here in the top. Now notice it didn't really do anything over here in the magic sheet, but suddenly, boom, magically, I have channel 1 and I have my ETC source fixture hanging at that point right there in my Light Lab. If I orbit around, I can see that indeed, let me grab some controls here, that indeed it's hanging in my lighting space, just like I had actually hung it in the theater. And I get a nice virtual representation of that ETC ellipsoidal. Let me see if I can get a better shot at it here. Let's slide around. Let's look right at that guy. So there he is. And notice he's sort of pointed just in a general direction right now in the space. So we're going to talk about moving and hanging him in a second. So I'm going to go back here to my standard view that I really like there. All right, so he's hanging in my space, but right now he's not on. If I want to turn him on, and notice he's still gold, so he's still selected, he's still live over here. I have some standard intensities. Again, intensity means brightness. So let's just make him 100%. 100%, we use the word full. So if I click on full, it's going to magically turn on my light at 100% over here in my space. Now notice he's sort of pointed over here in the corner. We'll learn how to aim him in just a second. But let's go through hanging another instrument. I'm going to just click anywhere to deselect light number 1. Notice he no longer has that gold border either over here in the magic sheet or over here in Augment 3D, so he's not selected. I'm going to select lighting instrument number 2. And I'm going to hang this guy just a little bit, stage right over here on the pipe in that hanging position. So I'm going to click that and notice, bam, right over here in Augment 3D, he's hanging as well. And he's already pointed right here at my figure. So he's still highlighted. I'm going to give him an intensity. Let's put him at 50%. So notice he comes on not so bright. He's not as bright as channel number 1. Channel number 1 is telling me inside the fixture that it's at full, And notice how bright the body of the lighting instrument, the lighting fixture is glowing as compared to channel number 2, which is glowing at about 50%. It just kind of visually shows me the intensity that they're at. If I take this guy and turn him down to 25, he even gets dimmer. If he goes out, he goes back to black. Let's put him back at 50%, right? So now I have channels 1 and 2. 1 is at 100% or full, and channel 2 is at 50%. Let's hang channel number 3. So the first thing I need to do is I need to deselect this guy. How do I deselect him? I just click a couple of times off of him. Notice he's not glowing anymore, so I'm no longer affecting him. I can also grab him over here, click on him over here if I want to affect him. But right now, I don't want to use him anymore, so I'm just going to double click anywhere and deselect him. I'm going to hang channel number 3, and I'm going to keep hanging in this direction. I'm going to hang him up here in the corner, and bam, he appears over here in augmented. He's still selected, so I'm going to turn him on at 25%. So notice I've got a really bright light, a halfway bright light, and then a quarter bright light here. I can also start to change those colors. First, just so we can see this a little better, I'm going to turn down my work lights in the space. So I'm going to put them on low, and now you can see a much more accurate visualization of the way this might look in an actual theater. If I want to turn all my work lights off, now we have a much closer, realistic, theatrical look to the way these lights might look like in space. Notice this guy is a little farther away, so his light is looking a little different. This guy's a little closer, so his light is looking a little different, and we'll talk about what that means in a future video. But I can continue to hang these other lights. I can grab channel number 4 and hang him over here. I can grab channel 5, and let's hang him down here. And then let's start hanging some other places. Let's grab 6 and hang it over here, and 7 over there, and 8 over here, and 9, let's go over here, 10 over here. Now we might organize these just a little better, and we'll talk about the number system and the way they're organized when you start working on your own plot. If I want to turn them all on, I can go through and select them all and turn them all up to full. And boom, I have a theater full of lights. Great. I want to deselect them. Let's say I want to start changing colors now. Let's say I want to change this guy to a blue. Boom. And let's change this guy to a red. Boom. And I click on this guy and change him to a green. And this guy I change to a lavender. This guy, I don't want any color in him at all. This guy, I want a nice teal. This guy, what the heck, let's give him that. This guy over here, let's give him that. This guy, let's also make him red. And suddenly we have changed the feel of our theatrical space. And we can rotate around this. We can zoom in very close and look at what it's doing to our model. We can fly around behind. Let me get my controls here correct. I can orbit around behind, or I can use these standard views like before and fly around the space. There's a great view of virtually what might be happening above on my stage. Here's what it might look like from behind. I can even zoom in and tilt up and get a sense of what it might feel like to the actor standing on the stage through Augment 3D. Great. And if I ever want to get rid of that, I can click on the light here and get rid of the color. I can click on that light and click out and it goes away. I can click on multiple lights and turn them out, right? Notice they kept their color information, but their color actually faded from the light. If I click no color, it gets rid of their color information as well. So I can click on these guys and click no color, turn them out. Let's go back to my front view that I like here. So again, I'm seeing a dark stage because everything is off. Let me turn my work lights on. So I'm going to go here. And you can see all of these lights hanging in space. So we have a visual representation of them, of where they're pointed, where they're hanging in space. And if I want to take them down, I can get rid of them. So let's say I just don't want one anymore. I can highlight him and click remove, and it strikes that lighting instrument. Let's say we want to get rid of 2, remove. Let's say we're done and we just want to take them all down. I can highlight them all here, or I can highlight them all here, all right, and click remove, and they're gone, and I'm reset back to 0.